Technology, Leadership, and Opportunity. As early as 1962, our own Marshall McLuhan described the world as a global village. He was remarking on the closeness that we would forever live in thanks to developments in telecommunications. The first website would not be posted on the World Wide Web until 1991, and the Internet would not perform functionally for the general public for another 10 years. McLuhan, 30 years early, predicted the rapid communication that would consume us. Now that we're living in a rapid expansion of communication, it is the substance of that communication which defines our age. Knowledge. Thomas Friedman spoke of the world becoming flat, beginning with the fall of the Berlin Wall and the introduction of an accessible internet. Subsequent to that, combining some major cultural factors, construction of multinational companies and global economy, many of us have found ourselves living in a flat global village. Many places still are in no way flat, and the world on the whole is particularly uneven, literally and figuratively. Friedman suggests that developing countries, isolated pockets of developed countries, and other areas that have been precluded from his 10 flatteners can still advance given the right circumstances. First on the flattening checklist is infrastructure to make connections. Presently, those connections are still being made in the Arctic. Though the internet has certainly existed in the Arctic for some time, I would argue that meaningful use of technology requires much more access than will be made available in the near future. So for that reason, we have to start small. Research by the McKinsey Group indicates that the most educationally successful schools around the world are those where teachers have strong peer relationships. If we accept that knowledge is our cornerstone, we can also accept that collaboration will be an important factor leading to success. The question is, what does collaboration look like in the 21st century school? Michael Fullan has suggested a concept called leadership from the middle. First of all, the middle means school boards, districts, or regions. From there, you can determine the top and the bottom. Leadership from the middle can be defined formally as a deliberate strategy that increases the capacity and internal coherence of the middle as it becomes a more effective partner upward to the state and downward to its schools and communities in pursuit of greater system performance. Leadership from the middle is a reasonable step for schools to take, Fullan explains, because top-down lacks buy-in and bottom-up goes unnoticed by the whole. The middle stays true to the bottom's needs, but has the capacity to communicate with the top. Fullan gives 3 reasons for leadership from the middle's promise. 1. The mass of people that want to be involved can be. 2. Innovations happen in collaboration. 3. The middle is literally in the best position to facilitate action between the top and the bottom. Fullan illustrates his point with New Zealand's shift toward middle thinking. In 1989, New Zealand enacted Tomorrow's Schools, wherein each school is provided with resources to work on their own bottom-up change. Education did not improve. Gaps remained and system-wide reform failed. In 2014, they enacted Investing in Education Success, wherein networks of schools ranging from 5 to 20 in size would work together to drive change. Leadership growing from the middle. The initiative is imposed from the top, but the work is happening in the middle. Fullan would suggest that this practice will inspire collaboration and authentic learning. Since the project was only implemented 3 years ago, sufficient data isn't available to remark on its success. However, Fullan would believe that it is promising. Technology development throughout the world over the past 30 years has in a way missed the Arctic. In the most advanced communities in Nunavut, internet connections cannot be relied upon if they can be acquired and then afforded. Government and education networks are hodgepodge and ad hoc. While improvements have been vast over the last 30 years, they pale in comparison to the rest of Canada, which itself is quite poor compared to the rest of the industrialized world. Schools in the Kitikmeot region are beginning to have resources to make leadership from the middle a reality with communication technology. Their limited speed and access to internet seriously diminish the use of new technology. Their small populations and vast geographic proximity make collaboration a logistical nightmare. Though present internet access is comparatively low, they are still living in an especially exciting time. For a moment, pause and think. Does leadership from the middle, that is, organized collaboration at a regional level, seem preferable compared to top down or bottom up? Are there other leadership models to consider? Where should a 21st century school place the center of leadership?